Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
No time to turn. I still love. Know I'm gonna die. Why? Get up. Set me. Get up. Let's see. And you drive us wild. We'll drive you crazy. You keep on shouting, you keep on shouting. Let me hear ya. I wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. I wanna rock and roll all night and party.
All right, everybody. Here we're hanging out with Dave Moody from the band Hairball. Some of you probably know they're one of the best tribute bands around here in the United States. If you haven't seen some of their performances, they put on quite a show. If you're any metal fan or rock fan of the hard rock in the 80s, you know, you can see anything from Kiss to Motley Crue, of course, Van Halen, Journey. They play just about everything. Their shows are packed with big production value. You got multiple singers that sing. Been around for almost over 20 years now, I want to say, right?
24, actually. We're just now going into our 24th year, which is amazing. Since 2000, this thing has been growing steadily every single year. And it's just been amazing. I'm going into my fourth year with the troupe right now. So it's just been a lot of fun.
Awesome. And I want to kind of just get into how you came into the band, because you've been in other bands before. You play with some pretty big names in your past. How did you get into the music industry, and what led you to get into, with these guys, with Hairball?
Well, I knew from a very young age what I wanted to do with my life the minute I saw Kiss Destroyer. I mean, it just possessed me like the gospel of rock and roll tends to do. And whenever I saw that album, Put the Needle on the Record, I was infected with the greatness of rock and roll from that moment forward. So that was never a problem for me. So I knew what I was going to do. And I thank God every day that I get the chance to do it. Whenever to strap on the spandex and throw on the lipstick, so it's not a problem for me at all. I really really enjoy it. I've been with the band for 4 years, and when I got in, their singer who did the raspy voices had left the band, and they were looking for somebody that could do it. And I was in an AC/DC tribute band, and I fit the bill pretty good. And it was called Thunderstruck, and we was doing very well. But when Hairball came a calling, it was kind of a no-brainer. So I was happy to be a part of the band.
Excellent. I went back and I was familiar with the band. I've never seen you guys live, but I was looking at some of your performances for the past few years. And I mean, not only do you guys have a pretty big social following, but just the amount of production value you put into these shows, it's pretty legit in terms of what the fans are getting and how accurate of depiction of it is of what it used to be in the 80s. If you were around, that era. I was just a kid in the 80s, but I'm a big fan of a lot of those bands, obviously, like a lot of us. We all have our musical heroes from the 80s.
Sure.
So it's really cool to see some of the performances, how, with obviously the costumes and all that stuff, and there's pyro in the sets. And, you guys played 2 hours worth full of hits that if you're any fan of rock, you're going to enjoy, whether you bring your kid or dad is rocking out in the crowd. I mean, I could just see the enjoyment in a lot of the fans when they go to your show. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that a lot of the fans here in Huntsville at the Mars Music Hall will be ready for that when you guys hit the road here soon. So
yeah, you're stealing my job here, man. You're promoting us better than I could do it.
That's what we do, man.
Yeah, it is a large scale production. If you haven't seen the band, the big problem that we have with our show is sometimes it's hard to explain to people because they'll see pictures and they'll go, "Oh, you're a Kiss tribute," and I go, "No, no, no." "Oh, you're a Van Halen." "No, no, no." "Oh, you're a Journey." "No, no, no." We got to explain to them that what we are is a celebration from everything from the 70s and 80s, the biggest characters in rock. We have 5 video walls, more pyro than a 70s Kiss concert. We're there to blow your eyes out of your head, make your eardrums bleed, and leave you sticky, broken, confused. We want you to walk into the arena. We want you to float out. That's our job to you. We preach the gospel better than a Billy Graham convention. There's nobody that's going to come in that is not going to have a good time. Our job is to push you against the wall, make you have fun, and enjoy yourself. There is no compromises in that. That is going to happen. You're going to have the time of your life. And I promise you this, you're going to spill beer on your buddy and you're going, oh my God, I cannot wait to come see this show again. And that's what we do.
It sounds like fun, for sure. So one of the questions that I had was looking back at the history of the band. I mean, me personally, I was familiar with Hairball. I've never seen you live, like I said before, but it seems like every year you guys it gets bigger and bigger, and it looks like you're putting a lot more production into the sets. And that's something that I wanted to talk about, which, that's obviously part of the whole thing, right? It's not just a bunch of guys playing 80s songs. I mean, it's the whole package. And you're right. It seems like it gets better every year.
Yeah, we pull no punches. I mean, every year the band grows and every year we throw more money into the production. I mean, literally, this production that you're going to see rivals anything that's out on the road. I mean, it's that much production. I mean, we have literally a pyro guy. We have a lighting director that's been on major tours with major bands from Motorhead to Ozzy. We have a front of the house engineer that has run several major festival tours. I mean, this is a real deal touring entity that does things right. And it's just an amazing production.
Okay, I think you're back now. You're good. I paused.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're good.
Yeah.
So you were
No
saying
worries.
about the production, and before it got cut off for a second, where I was going with this is, and this may be a bad example, but our magazine has covered a band called Steel Panther. I'm sure you've probably heard of them. A lot of people have. They're very popular.
Oh yeah, great guys,
Great guys, and they started out as a cover band, tribute band or whatever, before they kind of branched into their own stuff, and they played their own songs. Which, if you've seen any other stuff, it's quite funny and hilarious when when they perform live. But the 80s sound has resonated all the way through now, whether it's that the generation or the new generation. What's so majestic you think about a lot of these bands? I mean, like Kiss, and obviously, they've always put on great production and things like that, but it always wins live, man. It's just one of those things, like it lives on no matter what. So I can see, Hairball coming in and kind of bundling in all that package into one huge, 2-hour set of all these great bands. And people are going to love it because not only do they know the songs, but they feel like they're in that era, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things that I look forward to seeing you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Our intention is, like I said, to bring that back to you, to play it the way that we remember it. And you're right. These songs are timeless. It goes back to a simpler time. I'm not sure how old you are, but I remember us not locking the doors. I remember us going in and out of each other's homes. I just remember growing up in a much simpler, much more fun time than we live in right now and in present day. But that being said, our objective is to make you take your kids or your grandkids or whatever it might be and go, this is exactly the way we remember it. This is exactly the way I saw Alice Cooper in '86. This is exactly the way I saw Kiss in '78. This is exactly the way I saw Twisted Sister in '84. This is exactly the way that I saw Van Halen in '84. I mean, you want to remember those big moments, and that's what we try to do. And when the kids see it, they're blown away because they're like, that really happened. That really happened. And that's exactly how it happened, because we watch the videos, we watch the mannerisms, we watch the dialogue, we watch everything about it, and we deliver the show. And our job is to make you suspend belief for just a few minutes and go, man, that is as close as you're going to get.
Yeah, and there's an authenticity with that. I mean, you want to get as close as possible as to that era.
Yes,
and
correct.
that's part of the following that you guys have now. It seems like you have a pretty big following on social media, but like you said, the band's been around for a while. I mean, it's been the consistent touring. I think you guys do over 100 something shows a year. I mean, so you stay pretty busy most of the year, right?
131. I'm on the road 200 days a year. I'm away
Oh,
from my family for 200 days a year. And you got to love something to be away from home for 200 days a year. Um, it's just amazing the amount of work that we do and the people that show up. We couldn't be more thankful because, we are middle-aged guys. I mean, I'm 52. I know I don't look it, but I'm 52, getting ready to hit 53. I feel like I'm 23, and it's great. I mean, I just love the job that we do. Everybody in the band loves the job that we do, and we're fired up to get on the bus every week, and we're ready to hit the road and see what we can find.
Yeah, absolutely. I had down that this is something I was gonna ask you about because the term I don't like to say, I don't like the connotation of cover band. Cover band just assumes, it's there's tons of cover bands out there, right? I mean, that's
Sure.
a lot of these smaller bands start off as cover bands. I mean, as they develop their own sound and all that stuff. But you guys are not that. Even a tribute band, it's not even that. I mean, it's more to it than it's just a tribute band, right? I think you have a brand of arena rock, right? I mean, that's what it is. But like I was saying before, I think it's how you package the whole set together and the performance you put on and the production value and how authentic it comes to a lot of those great bands of the 80s that people want to see these shows because it puts them there. I wasn't there. I'm not from the 80s. I'm 42. I missed the 80s. I was just a kid. But uncle and my dad and that generation, they go back to like the Led Zeppelin or Deep Purple, and that's the sort of stuff that got me into rock and metal, Iron Maiden or Black Sabbath. I mean, I go on and on. A lot of the same people that I'm sure you listen to
Sure.
through the years. There's just something special about the 70s, the 80s, and all the great music that came from that still influences so many of us today, right? So it's really cool to have a package like this that seems to be branching out more to other places because I know in the past when you guys started out or possibly before you came in the band there was a lot of the tour days and stuff seemed to focus more on like maybe the Midwest, but then it kind of it's expanded, it gotten bigger and bigger for Hairball. Now it seems like you guys are all over the all over the place,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
we're nationwide. We're nationwide at this point. We've hit all 50 states, and to large fanfare, we're very thankful for that. It's a wonderful thing. And going back to your point of being a cover band or a tribute band, I mean, I've done both, and both are fine jobs. They're fine. They're fine, fine things to do. And believe me, I've done them both, and I'm not above either one. But this is a much different animal. This is more of an experience. This is more of an evening with. This is as if you were time traveling. This is not. This is a lot of fun. We take fun very seriously in this band, and we want the wow factor there. We want the fun factor there, and we want you to just laugh, smile, have a great time, and sing the greatest choruses of the greatest rock tunes ever written.
Absolutely. So let's get into a little bit, and you can choose not to go into detail about the set list because I know it changes from every city you guys go to, and that's cool that you guys change it around, who you choose to cover and all that stuff. But I've seen some of your performances doing AC/DC. It's spot on, man. I mean, from the costume to the vocals, the Brian Johnson vocals are pretty damn good. So can you talk a little bit about the your characters, the you take on the set?
Yeah, I mean, I do Gene Simmons, I do Dee Snider, I do Alice Cooper, I do Brian Johnson, Kevin DuBrow, Tom Kiefer, Blackie Lawless, getting ready to do Lemmy, from Motorhead, and it's just. My characters, I grew up with them. I say this all the time. I mean, a lot of us were raised on Bert and Ernie and Big Bird and Sesame Street and all that. Well, I mean, I was raised by Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and Alice Cooper. I mean, that was my babysitters.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for that. And I'm just a reflection of that. And to be able to get up and put on the boots, when I put on, I'm a pretty tall guy anyway. I'm 6'5" normally, and then I throw on the boots. I'm 7'1", Gene Simmons, and it's pretty awesome to be able to get in that outfit and don the makeup and the shoulder pads for D and the big blonde wig. I come out looking like a Muppet. I mean, it's awesome. And I mean, it's just so cool. And then to get to be Alice Cooper, and I'm like, I pride myself on just being one of the most laid back, nicest guys you ever met, and to get to be mean for about 6 minutes is pretty cool. I enjoy that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's a lot of fun. I mean, and we take it very seriously because we know how hard you work for your money. We know how tough times are. We know how tight money is. And when you come in and you lay your $35, $40 down, whatever it may be, at the door of your hard-earned money that you've worked so hard for, and you bring your family to us, you better believe that we appreciate it and we take it very, very seriously. And we want you to have a great time. So that's our intention.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I was going to ask you about the costume setup, since you guys are swapping between costumes and all that stuff. I mean, that's got to be difficult. Like, I go back to what you were saying. This is a different sort of animal. It's not, you go out there, you're dressed as one thing, even if it's not a tribute band or whatever, anybody else wants to call it. But we'll just say specific bands that wear costumes online. Any band nowadays that does it for a living, you're juggling all these different things. Like, how do you guys keep that in the middle of the set and get out on time? And I know you got obviously the different vocalists. It's not just you yourself, but how do you guys manage all that?
Well, I mean, you got to have everything kind of laid out. This is the system that I developed whenever I got into band, because I was on a curve. I'd never done any of this. I'd never put on makeup. I never even wore a guy liner back in the day. I didn't do anything. I never wore makeup, period. Now my nails are all painted all the time. And but it's what you do is you lay everything out accordingly, and you make sure that everything's in order. So whenever you get done with one character, you could peel that one off, set it down, take the makeup off, put the other one on, and then get that ready. And I'm the only one that does like 3 makeup characters in a night. I do Dee, I do Jean, and I do Alice. And that's a real tight window on a lot of that stuff. But it's really cool because I can do it. So, but yeah, I've got it down to a science now. It's not a big deal. I can do the Jean makeup in 25 minutes. And when it used to take me 3 hours when I first started, but now I can do it in like 25 minutes. Just get it on there. And then of course, Dee and Alice are kind of the same way. But you want to have everything prepped, kind of like you're cooking a meal. You know what I'm saying? You want to have everything laid out. That way the ingredients are there and all you got to do is bake the cake. So that's pretty that simple.
It's impressive. I mean, it takes time and effort, and you don't have a lot of time in between the
No.
scenes.
I have about I think about 11 minutes between characters to get in and out. And because you have a character going on and then another character going on. Yeah, it's about 12 minutes. About 12 minutes to do it. Yeah.
That's amazing. I was going to ask you, I'm sure you probably get this a lot, maybe after the shows, if fans come up to you guys or whatever, do you ever get special requests from people wanting you to cover specific bands that you haven't covered yet?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And we always say the same thing. There's a lot of bands that I would love to do. There's a lot of songs I would love to do. You don't think that I don't want to do, God of Thunder. You don't think that I don't want to do, Plaster Caster, or, name the Kiss song, name the Gene song. You don't think I don't want to do that? Yes, of course I want to do that. But that is not our job. You don't think I want to do Crocus or Accept or any of those bands, and it would be wonderful, but it's not our job to serve ourselves. It's our job to serve the greater good. McDonald's didn't get big by serving what they liked. They served what the public liked. And that's the most important thing. So our job is to care to the greater good and see the most people pleased and have the most fun. If I want to hear Accept, I'll sing it in my basement. You know what I'm saying? Go, man, that was cool. I wish I could do that live, but you can't.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. And there's so much good music out there. I mean, from that era, it's hard to choose, pick and choose any of that stuff. I mean, I was looking at this, we look at the set list obviously from just to familiarize ourselves, not because I don't want to be surprised. I'm going to be surprised because it's going to be a great show. And I know you guys put on a heck of a show, but other fans that have no idea, I would say don't look at any set list. Just show up to the gig and just enjoy it for 2 hours because it's going to be a great set. Do you ever, I don't know if so much, I mean, you've been in the music industry a minute. I was going to ask you about that. You played with Billy Ray Cyrus, correct? In his band for years, and you
I
toured for
did.
years,
It's
right?
about 10 years. Yeah.
About 10
I
years. Yeah.
did.
How was that like before, you came into Hairball and all that stuff? Just kind of take me through some of that.
It was phenomenal. It was around Hannah Montana time, if you remember that period.
Yeah.
Just absolute insanity. It was some Led Zeppelin stuff going on there. That was crazy. She was the biggest star in the world at that point in time. It was pretty amazing. It was close to like some Taylor Swift stuff. It was just crazy how big she was. And we were touring with her, and I toured with Billy for about 10 years. And all I can say to that is he's one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. Great friend, or he's a great boss, but a better friend. And we still are in touch to this very day, and I love him dearly, and I'd do anything for him. So he's just a wonderful, wonderful man.
Did you sing vocals as well when you played with them as well, or was they played the bass?
Oh no, no. They had that more than covered. Them good old country boys can sing, and I'm from the South, so I'm from Kentucky. So them boys can that Pentecostal church teaching got them a long way. There was no way I was going to get in the way of that. That was really good stuff.
So you're from the South. I didn't know that. That's good to know. I mean, you're going to be down here in the South soon. So, by the way,
Yeah, I'm a fellow hillbilly coming home.
I saw you guys some of the past tour dates or upcoming tour dates. I think one of them is in Corbin, Kentucky. I think from what I remember seeing. I have one of the guys that does stuff for us. He shoots concerts. He's a photographer. He lives there in Corbin, Kentucky. He used to live in Nashville. It's got an interesting scene. It's funny, like the U.S., this country, the way is laid out. You have certain venues that cover specific genres of music, whether it's metal or your 80s rock stuff or whatever. It's so huge. Like you guys been all over the place. There's some bands that spend their whole careers and they only hit certain regions of the country. So when you go on tour for 100 some days out of the year, you're gone most of the year. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool just to go to all these different places, whether it's a small town or not. It doesn't matter. I mean, the fans show up. There's a need. They want to enjoy the show. They show up for the show. That's got to be pretty cool. You travel the whole country. People get to know you. That's a good experience that not a lot of bands get to have. These days that are not at a certain level.
Yeah, well, that is very true. It's never lost on us how blessed we are and how thankful we are to get to do what we do, especially at the age we're at, and to be able to go out, load up like a bunch of pirates on a bus and roll down the road and belly laugh and have a big time and throw on women's clothes and jump around like a bunch of jackasses. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're very, 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 very thankful. There's not a day that we're not humbled by some group of people that come up and tell us how much fun that they had or how good we made them feel or forget their problems for a couple hours. And that's the most important. That's the best gift that you could give us is that you had fun and you showed up and enjoyed yourself, because that's the greatest gift, just to see you smile and have fun, because the world needs more of that.
Yeah, it sure does. Do you have a specific part of the set or band that you sing, with Hairball that you like the most, or you enjoy pretty much everything that you guys been playing live?
Well, it's hard to pick. I mean, I get that question quite a bit, and I always answer the same way. It's like picking your favorite kid, of course, but I mean, I can't do it. I mean, I love doing Gene. And I love blowing fire, and I love being D because he's a Muppet, and I love being Alice because he's mean, and I love singing AC/DC because I can do it, and that's hard to do, and and it's cool, and people love those songs, and it's just I don't know, man, it'd be hard to pick, I mean, because or I love Quiet Riot, and I love Tom Kiefer, and and they're all big hits, and people lose their minds, and no, it's all relative, man. It's all good. I mean, I'm good with all of it, and I tell you what, I do love it. I love the other singers in the band are just so phenomenal, and the band is phenomenal. So when I get a chance to listen to the band while I'm getting makeup on or while I'm changing out and hear how they're just destroying it and hear the crowd roar, it's like, God, man, I'm in this band. This is cool. I'm oh man, that's my band members, this is cool, so
Well, it's interesting. Like we'll use Kiss as an example. They called it quits supposedly, right? For the final time before the final time.
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. We've covered their tour in the UK, and we've shot them a bunch of times over the years with privilege, which we do with a lot of bands, doing this. But even to this day, again, it goes back to what you were saying. Like these guys, they just know how to put on a show, and it sticks with you. A lot of these bands that came from that era, it's just not the same, man. Me personally, we cover a lot of music. It's not just the 80s hard rock stuff or metal and all the different genres of that. We cover everything. And I like to think that me personally, I listen to a lot of stuff. I like 80s stuff. I mean, I like some of my favorite bands were like Dokken. I love Dokken. George Lynch, that's one of my favorite guitar players. That's one of my favorite bands from the 80s, but I listen to everything as well, Iron Maiden and Van Halen and Motorhead and all that stuff. Again, there's just something magical about that era, and people want to listen to that stuff. And I tell younger generation that's out there, if you have kids and your dad or your mom grew up in the 80s and you're just now discovering some of these bands because you listen to it on classic rock radio or whatever, take them to the concerts, because a lot of these bands are calling it quits. They've been around a long time, and they've been through a lot of things. They lived a life and more than that. But I tell everybody that I see at concerts that I meet, I tell them, take your kids out, take them to the shows. It may be the final time you'll be able to see, a Kiss or a Styx or Foreigner or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just something magical about that era, and we're losing a lot more of those bands. You know what I mean?
We really are, and that's another thing about our show that makes it so great. We just try to keep that legacy alive of the way that you remember it. And for I say this one too, our show's generational at this point, because if you look out, you see grandfathers, sons, and grandsons, and you see, grandmothers, daughters, and granddaughters, and they're all on their shoulders, and they got their little headsets on, and earmuffs, and it's just great. It's everybody just getting their teeth and everybody just losing their teeth. So it's great. It's awesome. I mean, just to look out and see everybody unified and having fun, and for the most important thing to us, is that everybody has fun. But I love it when the kids are just like so blown away because let's be honest, they've been shortchanged from a production standpoint. They've been shortchanged from a show standpoint. There's too many people using tracks. We are live people, 100% live. You come to our show, if I make a mistake, you better believe that I made a mistake. I might do it twice just so I prove to you I can do it again. But we're live. We're 100% real. We're like Mom's biscuits and gravy. And I know, being from the South, you know what I'm talking about. Right. And it's like, it's so important that we're real in a world full of just AI and auto tune and all this bullshit. And we're not that. We're real. And we love that about us. We love the fact that we go out there old school and deliver it exactly the way we remember it, so you feel it that way.
Yeah, and absolutely. And that's why there's an affinity towards what the band is doing and a lot of these songs that you guys cover live. I really hope that if you haven't seen Hairball live, you guys came out to the shows on their tour run. I don't know if you guys have ever played in Huntsville before. I don't think so, but maybe I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong.
I can't remember doing it, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been done. I would think that Huntsville, Alabama, the party capital of the world, I would remember that show. So I think this is our first time there. So our job is, since you're all giving us the key to the city, is come indoctrinate ourselves to your way of life. And I promise you this, they had to have one hillbilly in the band, and that's this guy right here. And that lets you know that they're legit. They might be from Minnesota, but they were smart enough to hire a hillbilly. So there you go.
Got to represent the South, man. You're right.
Got to represent the South.
All right, one final question. I want to be respectful of your time. So I was going to ask you about this simply because it may have been brought up before. I mean, who knows, right? Like I said, I don't like calling you tribute or cover band. It's just more to it than just that, like we've discussed. But do you ever get any questions or feel questions from people or their fans itself asking, hey, are you guys going to come up with original stuff, or is it always going to be focused on the cover tunes?
We were talking about that very thing the other day. We was talking with Happy, and Happy was like, I would like to do some original material, and everybody in this band is way more than capable of doing that. That's where our backgrounds are. Truth be told, we were all in original bands. For one reason or another, we didn't do it on that level, or we didn't, we didn't make it as individual artists or as a band collective. Doesn't really matter what road got us here, but we all come from writing material and writing songs. So the band itself is way more than capable of doing such. And I believe that will happen. I believe that Happy wants to do a Hairball album. Now, does that mean that will we put it in the show? I have no idea. It might just be sourced material where you put it on Spotify and fans have it, or, music doesn't really sell today anyway. Physical music doesn't sell anyway. But that might be something that our fans would really, really enjoy. And I think that it would be wonderful. So I'm all in. And if it does happen, it would, I think it would be, just because of the talent in the band. These people are monsters, man. When I tell you how good these guys are, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the pedigree on these guys is ridiculous, and I would very much look forward to it.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I agree with you. I was going to use this as an example. 80s, some of these 80s songs that that get covered, and I'll bring this as an example. We talked to Joe Satriani recently. He's going on tour with Sammy Hagar, and he's going to attempt to play some of these Van Halen songs that are classics. That's tough. He won't
attempt shit. He will do it.
No, he'll do it. He's a very humble dude. He was saying how difficult it is to play. He's that's one of the weirdest guitar players that's ever lived. Both
correct. He's not wrong.
So to your point, if you're playing some of these songs in a band, you're pretty good already, and doing them justice, the way you guys do live, I think is even better. So I hope so. I mean, I hope at some point that happens and you guys come up with some cool new stuff. I think fans will like that too as well. It just kind of makes it all up, So
it would be very cool to me. I'm all about that. That's a fun, wonderful exercise, and I absolutely love it. It's just a different world that we live in, and a different time, but we're a different animal. So, it would just be I think it would be more a gift to the fans than it would be anything, and even a gift to ourselves, because it would just be a wonderful exercise and a lot of fun. And we'd probably laugh quite a bit more than what we do, which is kind of hard to achieve because we laugh a lot.
You got to have laughter, man. That's what Let's Simplest said. Robert Plant said, got to have laughter.
I mean, I'm wearing women's clothes. What's not to laugh about?
Well, the audience will love it, right? That's part of the whole thing, right? But listen, thank you, Dave, for your time. We appreciate it. We hope to see you on tour. For anybody watching this, once we post this and it goes live, check out Hairball on their tour days. They stay pretty busy throughout the year. So
give them the date. Give them the date.
The date.
Show in Alabama.
So the show here in Alabama is going to be on February 23rd on a Friday. I believe it's a Friday night, which means that you need to go out there and actually go watch this show because it's a Friday night. with some of
Right
the
on.
songs that you can listen to if you're a rock fan, or if you're not a rock fan. I will go out to the show. I'll bring my
You
kids.
better be there. You better be there.
I will be there.
Give them the location. Give them the location.
This will be at Mars Music Hall.
Mars Music Hall.
Mars Music Hall. This is downtown in Huntsville. This is actually next to the Von Braun Center here. A really cool place. I've shot plenty of concerts there. It's a really good there's good acoustics there. So I think you guys said are gonna be awesome. So just go out to the shows next week, and you're gonna have fun. I don't think there's no possible way you couldn't have fun at one of these shows. I mean, I can just see the smiles on people's faces when I watch some of your live videos. It's great.
It's a good time. I promise you that. And I appreciate the time, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Come on out, raise your beer up with your buddies, slap each other on the back, sing the greatest choruses of the greatest rock and roll ever written. Let's have a big time. I promise you this. We're going to light that place on fire. We're going to have so much fun. I'm going to blow fire. I'm going to risk my life for you. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to laugh a lot. So, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. So come on out. Let's have a big time.
Rock on. Thank you, Dave, for your time. I appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you.
My pleasure, man.
Heavy metal rock.
Global mind.